Strange woman arrived in the village the same day the moon turned red. Nobody knew where she came from. Nobody saw her enter the village, but somehow she was already standing in the marketplace before sunrise. And her beauty was so unnatural that people stopped what they were doing just to stare at her. Even old women forgot the food burning on their fires. Men followed her silently, like people under a spell. When she smiled, the prince himself could not look away. "My name is Adana," she said softly. That same week, the prince announced he would marry her. The elders warned him. "It is too fast," they said. But the prince refused to listen. "I have never seen a woman like her before." The whole village prepared for the wedding. Everybody seemed happy. Everybody except a little girl named Amaka. Amaka noticed strange things about the new bride. Very strange things. One afternoon, Amaka followed Adana to the river. The woman knelt beside the water to wash her hands. But when Amaka looked into the river, she froze. The trees had reflections. The sky had reflections. Even birds flying above reflected inside the water. But Adana had nothing. No face, no shadow, nothing. Amaka's heart began to beat fast. The woman slowly turned toward her and smiled. "You should not spy on people," Adana whispered. Amaka ran home trembling. That night, she told her mother everything. But her mother slapped her lightly. "Do not speak evil against the prince's bride." "But Mama, she has no reflection." Enough. The next morning, the village woke up to terrible screams. A man was found dead outside his hut. His body was cold white like ash, and his eyes were completely black. People became afraid. Then another person died the next night, and another. Every morning, someone else was found dead. No wounds, no blood. Only black eyes and skin pale like dust. Fear spread through the village. The elders gathered secretly. One old man finally spoke with a shaking voice. "It has returned." The room became silent. "What has returned?" another elder asked quietly. The old man swallowed hard. "The spirit bride." Outside the elder's hut, Amaka was listening, and suddenly, a cold hand touched her shoulder. She turned slowly. Adana was standing behind her smiling, but this time, her eyes were completely black. Amaka tried to scream, but no sound came out. Adana bent closer and whispered, "You see and hear too much for a child, and your curiosity will put you in trouble one day." Then she walked away slowly into the darkness. Amaka could not sleep that night. Her hands shook under her wrapper as rain beat heavily on the roof. The next morning, she secretly followed the elders into the forbidden forest. Deep inside the forest stood an old shrine covered in red cloth and animal bones. The oldest elder spoke carefully. Many years ago, a spirit fell in love with a prince from this village. But the prince married another woman instead. The spirit became jealous, so she killed the prince, his wife, and their children before disappearing into the river. The elder's voice trembled. Before she vanished, she made a promise. "I will return for every royal bloodline." Amaka's stomach tightened. The prince was in danger. Suddenly, the wind grew cold, very cold. The trees began shaking violently. And then they heard singing. A soft, haunting song coming from deeper inside the forest. The elders' faces turned pale immediately. "She is here," one whispered. Then Adana appeared between the trees, but she no longer looked human. Her neck twisted strangely, her fingers were too long, and her black eyes looked empty like deep holes. The elders fell backward in fear. "You tried to bury me," Adana said calmly, "but I never left." The forest became dark around her. Then shadows began crawling out from behind the trees. The dead villagers. Their black eyes stared blankly ahead as they moved toward the elders. Amaka ran as fast as she could to the palace. She found the prince preparing for the wedding ceremony. "You must not marry her," Amaka cried. "She is not human." The prince became angry. "Enough with these foolish stories." But before he could say another word, the palace doors opened by themselves. Adana entered slowly. The entire room became silent. Then the prince finally noticed something terrifying. The giant mirror beside him showed everybody in the room except Adana. Fear finally entered his eyes. Adana smiled slowly. "I told you," she whispered. "I always return for my king." Suddenly, all the fire lamps went out. Darkness swallowed the palace, and the villagers outside heard the prince scream loudly into the night. The next morning, the palace was empty. The prince was gone, and so was the bride. But till today, villagers say that when the moon turns red, a beautiful woman in white still walks near the river, searching for another prince to marry.